The morning my world imploded smelled like French roast and betrayal. I was wiping down the espresso machine when I found the first receipt, a crumpled slip of paper that would unravel everything I'd spent the last 3 years building. $47,000 at Bergdorf's, Emily's signature, my business account. My hands trembled as I smoothed the paper on the counter. The early morning sunlight streaming through the cafe windows felt too bright, too harsh. This had to be a mistake. Emily wouldn't, she couldn't. But there were more, so many more. I trusted her to handle the books while I focused on growing our little coffee shop into something special. "You're the creative one, Lauren," she'd said, laughing over wine just last week. "Let me deal with the boring numbers stuff." The stack of statements spread across the counter told a different story. Designer clothes, first-class flights, five-star hotels, all carefully hidden beneath legitimate business expenses, draining my dream dry one swipe at a time. The bell above the door chimed. "Morning, boss," Desiree called out, hanging up her coat. She must have read something in my face because her smile vanished. "Lauren, what's wrong?" I couldn't speak. My throat had closed up around the betrayal lodged there. Instead, I just pushed the pile of papers toward her. "Oh my God," she whispered, flipping through them. "Oh my God, how much?" "Everything," I managed. She took everything. The morning regulars would start arriving soon. The lawyers from the firm down the block, the nurses getting off night shift, the college students cramming for early classes. They'd want their lattes and scones and that perfect little boost to start their day. They had no idea their favorite neighborhood cafe was drowning in debt. My phone buzzed. Emily's face lit up the screen. A selfie of us from opening day. Champagne glasses raised in celebration. I let it go to voicemail. "Have you called the police?" Desiree asked. I shook my head. She covered her tracks too well, made everything look legitimate. I signed off on reports without checking because I trusted her. My laugh came out bitter as burnt coffee. God, I'm such an idiot. "You're not an idiot. She's your best friend. Was your best friend." Desiree corrected herself. Best friend. The words tasted like ash. Emily and I had met in college, sharing dreams over cheap wine and cheaper ramen. When I'd finally scraped together enough for a down payment on this place, she'd been the first person I called. We'd painted these walls together, argued over chair colors, celebrated every tiny milestone. Now she was gone, along with my savings, my business account, and any chance of keeping this place afloat. The phone buzzed again, this time a text. "Lauren, I can explain everything. Please don't do anything rash. Meet me at Riverside Park at noon. I have a plan to fix this." "Delete it," Desiree said firmly. "Whatever excuse she's got, whatever she's planning, it's not worth hearing." She was right. I knew she was right. But my finger hovered over the message. The morning rush started trickling in. I plastered on a smile, made small talk over steaming milk and grinding beans. Every transaction felt like a mockery. These people believed in my little cafe enough to make it part of their daily routine. Emily had made me break that trust without even knowing it. By 11, my decision was made. I grabbed my coat. "Lauren, don't," Desiree pleaded. "At least let me come with you." "I need to hear her say it," I said. "Need to watch her face when she explains how she could do this to me." "Be careful. People who can betray you once will do it again," I finished. "Yeah, I'm counting on it." The cafe door closed behind me with a cheerful jingle that felt like a lie. Emily thought she was calling me to Riverside Park to manipulate me one last time. She thought she knew exactly how this would play out. My anger, her tears, some elaborate story about circumstances and intentions. But she taught me one valuable lesson. Never show your whole hand at once. I pulled out my phone and dialed the number I'd found buried in those bank statements, the one connected to suspicious transfers and late-night calls. Zane, it's Lauren. We need to talk about Emily Cooper. The game she'd started was about to change, and this time I'd be the one writing the rules. The debt collection notices hit my doorstep like fallen leaves, a steady, suffocating pile of consequences. I'd spent the night sorting through them, each envelope another nail in my cafe's coffin. Credit cards maxed, supplier payments bounced. Even my personal account had been drained to cover the hemorrhaging business expenses. Emily hadn't shown at Riverside Park. Of course she hadn't. My phone lit up. Desiree again. I'd ignored her last 3 calls, but this time I picked up. "I'm outside your apartment," she said before I could speak, "with coffee and those almond croissants you stress eat. Open up." I considered pretending I wasn't home, but the thought of facing another hour alone with these papers made my chest tight. Doors unlocked. Desiree took one look at my living room floor, now a sea of red-stamped notices, and set the coffee down. "Okay, this is intervention time. When's the last time you slept?" "Sleep's not gonna fix this." I grabbed a croissant anyway, the buttery layers dissolving on my tongue. "Did you know she took out a second mortgage on the cafe? Without my knowledge. I don't even know how that's possible." "It's not. That's straight up fraud." "Try proving it. Every document has my signature. Perfect forgeries." I laughed, the sound scratching my throat. She even got my habit of dotting I's with little circles. Desiree settled beside me, her shoulder warm against mine. "What did Zane say?" "That Emily approached him 6 months ago, trying to sell him insider information about my suppliers, recipes, everything. He turned her down, but—" I swallowed hard. "He wasn't the only cafe owner she contacted." That manipulative bit? A sharp knock cut her off. We both froze. "Ms. Wagner?" A man's voice. "This is Nathan Morris from Morris and Banks Collections. We need to discuss your outstanding payments." Desiree squeezed my hand. I squeezed back, neither of us breathing. "We have documentation of multiple missed payments. If you don't address this immediately, we'll be forced to pursue legal action." The threat hung in the air like smoke. After what felt like hours, footsteps retreated down the hallway. "They can't take the cafe," Desiree said fiercely. "We won't let them." "They can, and they will." I pulled out my phone, showing her the latest email. "Unless I come up with $127,000 by the end of the month." Jesus! She grabbed the phone, scrolling through figures that made my head spin. "Have you talked to Matthew? He's got connections in banking. Maybe he could—" "I'm not dragging your brother into this mess." "He'd want to help." "No." The word came out sharper than intended. I can't owe anyone else. Not now." My phone buzzed. An unknown number. The voicemail notification popped up seconds later. "Lauren?" Emily's voice, thick with tears. "Please, I know you hate me right now, but you have to understand. I never meant—" "Things just got out of control. But I can fix this. I have a way to make everything right. Just check your email. Please." Desiree was already shaking her head. "Delete it. Whatever scheme she's cooking up will probably make things worse." I was already opening my laptop. "Yeah, but I need to know what she's planning." The email loaded. A single document attachment. A contract for the sale of Riverside Cafe to a developer planning to demolish the whole block. "The offer's legitimate," I said numbly. 3 times what the cafe is worth. Enough to clear the debt and then some. "It's blood money," Desiree spat. "She drives you into debt, then conveniently has a buyer lined up. She's probably getting a cut." She was right, but the numbers kept swimming before my eyes. A way out, handed to me by the same person who'd pushed me over the edge. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Zane. Need to meet. Found something about Emily you should see. I stood up, brushing croissant crumbs from my lap. I need air, and answers. Lauren, Desiree's voice was careful. Whatever you're thinking of doing, I'm thinking it's time to stop reacting and start acting. I grabbed my coat. Emily wants to play developer? Fine. But first, I need to understand exactly what game she's been running. The collection notice crunched under my feet as I headed for the door. Behind me, Desiree called out, "Just promise me you won't do anything stupid." I didn't answer. After all, stupid would be trusting Emily again. What I had in mind was something much more calculated, and it started with finding out what Zane knew. Zane's cafe was everything mine used to be, bustling, vibrant, alive with possibility. The scent of success hung thick in the air, mingling with artisanal coffee and fresh-baked bread. My stomach clenched as I pushed through the door. He was behind the counter, sleeve tattoos on display as he pulled espresso shots. 10 minutes, he mouthed, gesturing toward an empty table. I sat, fighting the urge to analyze everything: his equipment, his layout, his menu prices. Instead, I watched his customers, trying to ignore the voice in my head calculating how many I'd lost this week alone. Here. A steaming cup appeared in front of me. Your usual, oat milk cappuccino, extra shot. You remember my order? Hard to forget the competition. Zane dropped into the seat across from me, his expression unreadable. Especially when she orders the same thing 3 times a week for months. My hand froze halfway to the cup. Emily came here? Started about 8 months ago. Always during your busy hours, always with her laptop. He slid his phone across the table. Always meeting with this guy. The photo was grainy but clear enough. Emily, head bent close to a man in an expensive suit. Papers spread between them. My chest tightened. I recognized those papers. Our original lease agreement. That's Marcus Reynolds, Zane said. Developer. Been buying up properties all along this strip. The one who made the offer on my cafe. Bingo. He leaned back, arms crossed. Emily's been working with him since before your money troubles started, setting up the perfect distress sale. The cappuccino turned bitter on my tongue. She engineered the whole thing. The theft, the debt. It was all to force me to sell. For pennies on the dollar. Then Reynolds develops the block. Emily gets her commission, and your cafe becomes another overpriced apartment complex. My fingers curled into fists under the table. Why are you telling me this? We're competitors. My failure is your gain. Something flickered across Zane's face. Anger? Hurt? Reynolds approached me too, offered to buy me out for triple market value. But you didn't sell. This place? He gestured around the cafe. It's not just business, it's community, history, something Emily clearly doesn't understand. My phone buzzed. Another text from Emily. The developer needs an answer by Friday. Please, Lauren, this is your best way out. She's wrong, Zane said quietly. There's always another way. Is there? The words came out raw. I'm drowning in debt, hemorrhaging customers, and the only person I trusted. My voice cracked. I looked away, blinking hard. Hey, his hand covered mine, warm and calloused. You've got something Emily never will, people who actually care about this place, your regulars, your staff. Hell, even your grumpy competitor next door. A laugh escaped before I could stop it. Grumpy? I prefer discerningly morose. His grin faded. Look, I've got copies of Emily's meetings, timestamps, everything. It won't undo the damage, but it's evidence of conspiracy. Enough to maybe press charges. Or, an idea started forming, dangerous and tempting. Enough to turn her own game against her. Zane's eyebrows rose. What are you thinking? that Emily's not the only one who can play developer. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through contacts. But I'm going to need help, starting with your evidence and your coffee supplier, the one Emily couldn't convince to work with her. Understanding dawned in his eyes. Lauren, that's playing with fire. Good thing I've got nothing left to burn. I stood up, energy thrumming through my veins. Emily thinks she's got me backed into a corner. Time to show her what that really feels like. Wait. Zane caught my arm as I turned to leave. Whatever you're planning, be careful. Emily's desperate, and desperate people are dangerous, I finished. So am I. She made sure of that. Outside, the street was filling with afternoon crowds. Through Zane's window, I could see him watching me, concern etched on his face. My phone buzzed again, Desiree this time, probably wondering where I'd disappeared to. I ignored it, opening my email instead. Time to send Emily exactly what she was waiting for. You're right. We need to talk. Meet me at the cafe tonight after closing. Just us, like old times. The response came seconds later. Thank you, Lauren. You won't regret this. Oh, but someone would. I just had to make sure it wasn't me. Desiree found me in the cafe's storage room, surrounded by years of receipts and bank statements. The afternoon sun cast long shadows through the window, turning paper edges to gold. You missed our check-in call, she said, closing the door behind her. I was worried. I'm fine. I held up a stack of documents. Just doing some forensic accounting. Right, because that's totally normal behavior. She settled onto a crate of coffee beans. Want to tell me what happened with Zane? I told her everything. Emily's conspiracy with the developer, the staged financial collapse, all of it. With each word, the betrayal felt fresher, sharper. That calculating witch. Desiree's voice shook. We have to go to the police. With what? Everything looks legitimate on paper. I gestured at the mess around us. Emily made sure of that. Then, what's your plan? I hesitated. Desiree had been my rock through this nightmare, but what I was considering, maybe it's better if you don't know. Oh, hell no. She grabbed my arm. You don't get to protect me by shutting me out. Not now. Fine. I met her eyes. I'm going to make Emily think she's won. Sign the papers, act desperate and grateful, then use Zane's evidence to prove she orchestrated the whole thing. That's actually not as crazy as I expected. There's more. I pulled out my phone, showing her the email chain with Emily's developer. While she thinks I'm defeated, I'll be negotiating with other developers, creating a bidding war. Once word gets out about the potential rezoning, understanding dawned on Desiree's face. The property value skyrockets. And Emily's careful plan implodes. She loses her commission, her reputation, her freedom, if we can prove fraud. Desiree's expression hardened. But Lauren, this is dangerous. If she realizes what you're doing, she won't. I stood, pacing between towers of storage boxes. Emily thinks she knows me, the trusting friend, the creative dreamer who never checks the books. She has no idea what I'm capable of. That's what scares me. Desiree's voice was quiet. I've never seen you like this. Like what? Strong? Strategic? Cold? The word hit like a slap. I turned to face her, protest rising, but the concern in her eyes stopped me. Emily betrayed me, I said finally. Tried to destroy everything I've built. What am I supposed to do? Forgive her? No, but maybe remember who you are while you're fighting back. She stood, touching my shoulder. The Lauren I know built this place because she wanted to create something beautiful, not destroy someone else. That Lauren was naive. That Lauren was kind. There's a difference. My phone buzzed. Emily, confirming tonight's meeting. The sight of her name made my stomach clench. I have to do this. I said, even if it changes me. Then let me help, whatever you're planning. No. The word came out sharper than intended. I need you clean in case things go wrong. Besides, I managed a smile. Someone has to keep the cafe running while I play developer. Fine. Desiree pulled me into a fierce hug. But promise me something? What? When Emily shows up tonight, remember the friend she used to be. Not because she deserves it, but because you deserve to keep that part of yourself. I didn't answer. Couldn't. Instead, I buried myself back in paperwork, searching for any detail Emily might have missed. Hours later, after Desiree left, I found it, a discrepancy in the timing of transfers, a pattern hidden in plain sight. Emily hadn't been working alone. Someone else had accessed our accounts, someone with banking expertise. My hands shook as I pulled up an old photo on my phone. Emily's birthday last year, all of us celebrating. There in the background, smiling at the camera, Matthew, Desiree's brother, the friend who'd offered to help with my banking troubles. The final piece clicked into place, shattering whatever warmth Desiree's words had stirred. Emily hadn't just betrayed me, she'd built a whole network of deception, using my closest relationships against me. The cafe's front door chimed. Emily's silhouette appeared, right on schedule. Time to show her exactly what her betrayal had created. Emily looked smaller somehow, standing in my cafe's dim evening light. Her designer clothes hung loose, dark circles shadowed her eyes. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Then I remembered Matthew's face in that photo, and my heart hardened. Lauren. Her voice cracked. Thank you for... Sit down. I gestured to the table where we'd planned this cafe's future together. Let's make this quick. She sank into the chair, hands twisting in her lap. I know you're angry. Angry doesn't begin to cover it. I stayed standing, needing the height advantage. Tell me something, Em. When did you recruit Matthew? Before or after you started draining my accounts? The color drained from her face. What? Don't. I slapped the transfer records on the table. His signature's all over these. The timing, the amounts. It had to be someone with banking experience, someone I trusted. Lauren, please. Was it his idea, the whole developer scheme? Or did you corrupt him like you corrupt everything you touch? It wasn't like that. She stood abruptly, sending her chair scraping back. Matthew was trying to help. Help steal my life's work? Help save it. Tears spilled down her cheeks. You were drowning, Lauren. Too proud to see it, too stubborn to change. The cafe was failing months before I touched those accounts. The words hit like a physical blow. You're lying. Check the books yourself. The real ones, not the pretty fiction you were showing investors. 3 failed health inspections. Supplier costs skyrocketing. Customer numbers dropping every month. Because you were sabotaging me. Because you refused to adapt. She grabbed a napkin, wiping her eyes. Matthew saw it first. Said if we didn't intervene, you'd lose everything. At least this way, you get something out of it. My hands shook as I snatched up the papers. So this was what? Tough love? Betraying me for my own good? The developer's offer is real, more than this place is worth. You could start fresh, do something new. This is my home. The words exploded out of me. Every recipe, every regular, every morning rush. It's not just business. It's who I am. It's who you were. Emily's voice softened. Lauren, look around. Really look. When's the last time this place was full? When's the last time you paid yourself a real salary? You're holding on to a dream that's already dead. I wanted to scream that she was wrong, but memories flickered unbidden. Empty tables during peak hours, bounced checks I'd hidden from staff, sleepless nights calculating how to make rent. The papers are here. Emily pulled out an envelope. Sign tonight and everything's covered. Debt cleared, fresh start guaranteed. Keep fighting. She shrugged. Well, bankruptcy leaves fewer options. My phone buzzed. Zane, got the proof. Ready when you are. One text and I could destroy her, expose the conspiracy, ruin her career, maybe even send her to jail. The plan I'd spent days crafting waited like a loaded gun, but her words echoed, cutting deeper than any betrayal. A dream that's already dead. You're right, I said quietly. Emily blinked. What? About the cafe struggling, about me being too proud to see it. I sank into the chair across from her. But you're wrong about one thing. What's that? That betrayal was your only option. I pulled out my own envelope. These are letters from regulars, staff, even competitors. People willing to invest, to help restructure, to fight for this place. People who believe in what we built here. Lauren, I could destroy you right now, show everyone what you and Matthew did, but then I'd be just like you, someone who destroys things instead of building them. Her hands trembled as she reached for the letters. I pulled them back. I'm not signing the developer's deal. Instead, I'm offering you a choice. A choice? Help me save this place, legitimately this time. Use your connections, your financial skills, everything you turned against me. Help me rebuild, or, I slid Zane's evidence folder across the table. Or I use this, your call. Emily stared at the folder, then at me. In her eyes, I saw the same calculation I'd been wrestling with. Revenge versus redemption, destruction versus creation. Why would you trust me again? She whispered. I don't. But I trust myself enough to try something different. I stood up. You have until morning to decide. Choose carefully. I left her there, surrounded by the wreckage of our friendship and the possibility of its resurrection. Outside, the night air felt clean, new. My phone buzzed again. Desiree this time. I answered, ready to face whatever came next. Sometimes saving a dream meant letting it change. Morning brought rain and Matthew's unexpected silhouette at my door. He stood there dripping, his banker's suit dark with water, looking nothing like the friend who'd offered financial advice over Sunday brunches. Emily told me what happened, he said. I let the silence stretch, remembering all the times he'd sat at my counter, watching me work while he helped balance my books. How many of those numbers had been lies? Aren't you gonna let me in? Depends. Are you here as my friend or Emily's accomplice? He flinched. Lauren, please, just let me explain. I stepped aside, not trusting myself to speak. He moved past me into the cafe, the familiar scent of his cologne now turning my stomach. The developer called this morning, he said, turning to face me. Emily didn't show up to sign the final paperwork. And? And he's pulling the offer, all of it. Matthew ran a hand through his wet hair. Do you understand what that means? The debt, the mortgage. I understand betrayal just fine. Thanks. Damn it, Lauren, I was trying to help. His composure cracked. You were hemorrhaging money, every month watching you pour more into this place, knowing it was only delaying the inevitable. So you and Emily decided to speed up the process? My laugh felt like broken glass. How generous. We had a plan, a clean exit, money to start fresh. He stepped closer. We can still salvage this. I have other investors. Stop. I held up my hand. Just stop pretending this was about helping me. It is. Why can't you see that? Because real help doesn't come with lies. The words burst out of me. Real friends don't conspire behind your back, manipulate your accounts, push you toward failure to force their solution. And what's your solution? He gestured around the empty cafe. More 60-hour weeks? More credit card debt? More pretending everything's fine while you drown? Before I could answer, the door chimed. Zane walked in, stopping short at the tableau before him. Bad time? Perfect time, I said, not taking my eyes off Matthew. Show him. Zane pulled out his phone, playing a recording. Emily's voice filled the space. Once the property value crashes, we'll control the whole block. Lauren never has to know our part in it. Matthew's face went ash gray. Where did you get that? Turns out Emily's not great at checking for security cameras during her coffee meetings. Zane's voice was casual, but his eyes were hard. Got dozens of these. Really interesting stuff about artificial debt creation, forged signatures, market manipulation. You're bluffing. Want to test that theory? I stepped closer. See how your banking career survives a fraud investigation? Lauren. Matthew's voice cracked. Please, everything I did was for my own good. Yeah, I got that part. I moved to the counter, started my morning coffee routine. The familiar motions steadied my hands. Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna call your banking friends, restructure my debt, legitimately this time. Then you're going to disappear from my life. Or, or Zane's evidence goes to the FBI. Steam hissed as I pulled a shot of espresso. Your choice. The silence stretched, broken only by the gurgle of brewing coffee and distant rain. You've changed, Matthew said finally. Yeah, funny how betrayal does that. He reached for his phone, fingers trembling slightly as he dialed. The conversation was brief, technical, final. It's done, he said afterward. The terms will be emailed over. Good, now get out. He paused at the door. For what it's worth, I really did care. I know, that's what makes it worse. After he left, Zane leaned against the counter. You okay? No. I pushed a cup toward him. Oat milk cappuccino, extra shot. But I will be. Lauren? He hesitated. Emily's still out there, and now she's desperate. Let her come. I started prepping for opening, the morning routine grounding me. I'm done playing defense. My phone lit up with a text. Emily, you forced my hand. Hope you're ready for what comes next. I showed it to Zane. His expression darkened. She won't stop, he said. No. I squared my shoulders, facing the rain-streaked windows where the first light of dawn was breaking. But neither will I. The morning crowd would arrive soon, seeking their daily comfort in coffee and routine. They'd find something different today. A owner who'd finally stopped trying to please everyone, who'd learned that sometimes saving what you love means fighting for it. Emily wanted war? Fine. I was just getting started. The cafe windows rattled as thunder rolled overhead. I stood behind my counter, watching Emily through the rain-streaked glass. She wasn't alone. 4 men in suits, Zane murmured from beside me. Developer's muscle, probably. Probably. My voice sounded calmer than I felt. You should go. Like hell. The door chimed. Emily entered first, rain darkening her designer blazer. The men filed in behind her, expensive suits, blank expressions. One carried a briefcase. Closing time, I called out. We're done for the day. Oh, we're just getting started. Emily's smile was razor sharp. The developer's lawyers have some papers for you to sign. Not interested. This isn't a negotiation, Lauren. She nodded to Briefcase Man, who began spreading documents across my favorite corner table. Your debt restructuring fell through. Funny how quickly banks change their minds when certain irregularities come to light. My hands clenched on the counter. Matthew, of course, his final betrayal. Sign now, Emily continued, and you might salvage enough to start over. Refuse? She shrugged. Well, bankruptcy's such an ugly process. Lightning flashed, casting harsh shadows across her face. In that moment, I barely recognized the woman who'd once been my best friend. You know what's funny? I moved around the counter slowly. I spent days plotting revenge, planning how to hurt you like you hurt me. But standing here now, I gestured around the cafe, my cafe, with its mismatched mugs and worn wooden tables. I just feel sorry for you. Emily's smile faltered. Excuse me? You've never built anything real, never created something from nothing, poured your soul into it, watched it grow. I traced my fingers along a table's edge, remembering countless mornings of coffee and dreams shared here. You only know how to take. I know how to survive, she snapped, something you never learned. No? I reached under the counter, pulled out a thick folder. These are letters from customers, neighbors, other business owners, people pledging support, investments, time. While you were plotting to destroy this place, I was building an army to save it. Cute, but sentiment doesn't pay bills. No, but community investment does. I met her eyes. The cafe's going co-op. 51% owned by the neighborhood, 49% mine. Papers were filed this morning. The color drained from Emily's face. You're lying. Check your phone. The press release should be hitting right about now. On cue, her phone buzzed. She grabbed it, fingers shaking slightly as she read. The suited men shifted uncomfortably. This changes nothing, she said, but her voice wavered. The developer can't touch a community-owned business without public hearings, months of red tape, bad publicity. Zane stepped forward, arms crossed. Really bad publicity. Once those recordings of your conspiracy go public, you wouldn't. Try me. I moved closer, close enough to smell her expensive perfume. You taught me well, Em. Sometimes you have to be willing to burn it all down. Thunder crashed again. In the silence that followed, I heard her breathing quicken. I could fight this, she whispered. You could, but you won't. I softened my voice, because deep down, under all the schemes and betrayals, some part of you remembers who we used to be, what this place meant to both of us. Tears welled in her eyes. Lauren, go home, Emily. It's over. She stared at me for a long moment, something like regret flickering across her face. Then she turned to the suited men. We're done here. They filed out silently, taking their threatening papers with them. Emily paused at the door, rain drumming against the glass behind her. I really did love this place once, she said softly. I know. That's what made it hurt so much. After they left, Zane let out a long breath. Holy shit, you actually did it. We did it. I sagged against the counter, adrenaline draining away. I couldn't have pulled this off without you. Please, this was all you. He bumped my shoulder gently. The Lauren I first met would never have thought of a co-op solution. The Lauren you first met was naive. The Lauren I'm looking at now is unstoppable. Outside, the storm was breaking up, hints of sunset peeking through clouds. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, restructuring, renovations, rebuilding trust. But for now, standing in my cafe with the taste of victory sweet on my tongue, I felt something I hadn't experienced in weeks. Peace. I started making coffee. 2 cappuccinos, extra shots. Some traditions were worth keeping. Some dreams were worth fighting for. The morning rush flowed around me like a river, familiar and strange all at once. Every surface gleamed, fresh paint brightening the walls while keeping their character. The new espresso machine hummed efficiently beside my old faithful one. Progress and tradition, side by side. 2 oat milk lattes for Sarah, Desiree called out, her voice carrying over the buzz of conversation. I watched Sarah, a regular since our first week, grab her drinks from the pickup counter. She paused, taking in the subtle changes. Local art on the walls, the expanded seating area, the community board filled with neighborhood events. It feels the same, she said, catching my eye. But better somehow? That's the idea. The bell chimed. Zane walked in, carrying a box that smelled of freshly baked sourdough. Our weekly bread exchange, his artisanal loaves for my cold brew concentrate, had survived the chaos, evolved into something stronger. Packed house, he noted, sliding the box onto the counter. Always is now. I poured him his usual cappuccino. Funny how community ownership makes people feel invested. Funny how having the right person in charge makes that possible. Heat crept into my cheeks. Before I could respond, Desiree appeared at my elbow. Speaking of being in charge, she handed me an envelope. This came by courier. My name was written in familiar handwriting, Emily's. You don't have to open it, Desiree said quietly. But I did. Some doors needed proper closing. Inside was a single page, a letter of resignation from her position at the development firm, copied to me. And a note. You were right about building things, about creating instead of taking. I'm starting over somewhere new, not asking forgiveness, just wanted you to know. P.S. Check the storage room's loose floorboard. Left something there years ago you should have. Everything okay? Zane asked. Yeah. I tucked the letter away. Watch the front for a minute. The storage room smelled of coffee beans and possibility. I found the loose board easily. How had I never noticed it before? Underneath lay a small notebook, its pages yellow with age. Our original business plan. Emily's neat handwriting alongside my messy scrawls, dreams sketched out in coffee-stained margins, and tucked inside a photo, two college girls raising champagne glasses, eyes bright with possibility. Found this too. Desiree's voice made me jump. She held up a stack of papers, bank statements, transfer records, hidden behind the cleaning supplies. Everything we needed to prove what she and Matthew did. She left us ammunition, I realized. Insurance in case her plan failed. Or proof she wasn't completely lost. Desiree sat beside me. What are you going to do with it? I looked at the evidence of betrayal, then at the notebook full of shared dreams. Both felt like artifacts from another life. This, I stood, carrying everything to the industrial sink. The water ran clear and cold as pages dissolved, ink bleeding away, old wounds washing clean. When I returned to the front, the morning rush was easing. Zane had jumped in to help, moving behind the counter like he belonged there. In a way, he did. We all did. Every person who'd chosen to invest in this place, to fight for it, to make it stronger. Hey, he caught my hand as I passed. You good? Better than good. I squeezed his fingers, then let go. Orders needed making. Coffee needed brewing. Life moved forward. I know who I am now. The cafe hummed with energy. Regulars chatting with new faces. Local artists discussing their next showcase. Baristas calling out drinks like poetry. My dream, transformed but not broken. Stronger for being shared. I pulled a perfect shot of espresso, watching the crema swirl like possibilities. The bittersweet scent rose up, familiar as breathing. Some people spend their lives taking things apart. Others learn to build something beautiful from the pieces. I chose to build. The morning sun streamed through our windows, catching on the new sign we'd hung yesterday. Below the cafe's name, smaller letters spelled out our promise to the community. Built together, growing stronger. I smiled, reaching for another cup. There were drinks to make, stories to hear, moments to create. This was just the beginning.